And we see here that it's increasing tyrosine hydroxylase expression, one of the other extracts, the militaris extract. So that's pretty cut and dry that that's making you make more dopamine, okay? So +1 for cordyceps on a mechanism for making you make more dopamine. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel on nootropics, on TRT, on biohacking, on male performance. Please subscribe to the channel. Look, I know you're gonna love all the content that comes out of here, so just hit the sub button now, bro. And look, I got a 1980s very super popular but retired wrestler that would really appreciate it, bro, if you would hit that like button. Who are we? We are Cortex Labs, and we are predominantly a male performance company that focuses on nootropics and TRT. We make a nootropic stack, well, two of them. One is called Torque, the other is called Cortex. I am a high-level consultant, primarily for business people, but everybody else in between relative to my specialties. And we've got courses and guides on nootropics and TRT, all that stuff in the description of this video or at livecortex.com. So what I want to do in this video is I want to talk about Cordyceps mushroom. I think there's confusion about what it's doing via dopamine, right? Some people think it upregulates like dopamine in general, or it's like reducing dopamine in the prefrontal cortex, or it's agonizing the D2 receptors. It's actually important to know exactly what it's doing so that you can know like why you're taking it and which extract to take, because there are different types of cordyceps that you can take that end up doing different things. If you're trying to affect the dopamine system in any positive way, you kind of need to know what the chemicals you're taking are doing specifically and even regionally. So cordyceps, what is it? Actually, it's a fungi, predominantly used in Chinese medicine. In fact, in popular culture, cordyceps has been long used in traditional Chinese medicine to treat many diseases related to the lungs and the kidneys. It's believed to treat coughs and improve the immune system. It is also used as an aphrodisiac or to promote male sexual potency. It's one of the things that anecdotally that people use it for, like getting better boners. Hey bro, I'll fucking take it. And treatments for ailments such as chronic fatigue syndrome and to alleviate fatigue caused by cancer. Now this is pretty, I guess this aligns with people's anecdotals because people take cordyceps before the gym. They get better workouts. They generally feel better. Some people take it for sexual potency and they get, good results from it. But I wanted to actually break down what it's doing, and then also differentiate between the different extracts of cordyceps. Major takeaway is that there are two different cordyceps extracts. There's sinensis and then there's militaris. They both have action on dopamine. I'm going to break down what each does so you understand like which you may want to take for dopamine based on what you may need to do with the dopaminergic system. I'll take us to a paper quickly called The Antidepressant-like Effect of Cordyceps sinensis in the Mouse Tail Suspension Test, where basically, this is kind of complex, but I'm going to read to you or explain what's really happening or what they figured out. Whenever there's a positive effect, there was a positive effect on immobility on these mice in this particular case, that you can essentially attenuate by antagonizing a receptor site. Stay with me. It pretty much tells you that the chemical in question is agonizing the receptor site. So in this case, they pre-treated these rats with a dopamine D2 receptor antagonist, so blockade of the dopamine D2 receptors. And what ended up happening is this reduced the effects of Cordyceps sinensis on the on the ability for these mice to perform the mouse tail suspension test. So what that tells us is that Cordyceps sinensis is actually agonizing at some level the D2 receptors, right? That's a pretty surefire way to determine what action at a receptor site it's doing. You give someone an antagonist of a receptor site, and then the chemical in question doesn't work as effectively, doing something relative to that receptor site. So potential D2 receptor agonist. Now, we don't know if it's actually binding to the D2 dopamine receptors directly as an agonist. Like I don't see any piece of literature that suggests that. However, on one of the other extracts of cordyceps, which is Cordyceps militaris, we actually have a paper that shows us that it increases tyrosine hydroxylase. So tyrosine hydroxylase is one of very many important aromatic amino acid hydroxylases. These are conversion enzymes effectively that take your precursors of certain neurotransmitters and turn them into neurotransmitters. Tyrosine hydroxylase is like a very important target if you want to upregulate dopaminergic function in general, because this is going to take your tyrosine, which you get in your diet or you can get supplementally, and turn it into L-DOPA, and then L-DOPA via a different conversion enzyme turns into dopamine and then adrenaline, noradrenaline. So in this paper, the results suggest that CME, which is Cordyceps militaris, can upregulate stimulate the dopaminergic system and may contribute to neuroprotection and neurodegenerative diseases, and it's doing so via pretty marked increases in tyrosine hydroxylase expression. All right, so far, what we know about the different versions of cordyceps is that Cordyceps sinensis is doing something at the D2 receptor, whether it's a partial direct agonist, which I kind of doubt, or it's somehow increasing dopamine synthesis, and that dopamine is agonizing the D2 receptors. And we see here that it's increasing tyrosine hydroxylase expression, one of the other extracts, the militaris extract. So that's pretty cut and dry that that's making you make more dopamine, okay? So +1 for cordyceps on a mechanism for making you make more dopamine. Now, this is where people can get confused in misinterpreting studies, because there's a paper that's titled The Antidepressant and Anxiolytic Effects a formula consisted of Porreia-Cocos and Cordyceps militaris in unpredictable chronic mild stress animal model, where essentially they think what they're alluding to here is that there is a reduction in the metabolism or the metabolites of dopamine and serotonin, where they go, besides, treatment with this extract or this combination of chemicals significantly reduced glutamate in the amygdala and metabolic of serotonin and dopamine in the prefrontal cortex. I'm not even sure why they're phrasing it reduced metabolic. Maybe it's reducing the metabolism of those neurotransmitters, so there is less metabolites, which would actually indicate that it's keeping the neurotransmitter around more. If there's less metabolites, then that's active neurotransmitter, still kind of taking place. But let's just say, as an example, that maybe the combination of this Porreia-Cocos extract and Cordyceps militaris does reduce dopamine. It's region specific here. The predominant anecdotal reporting of dosing cordyceps is number 1, a reduction in fatigue. A reduction, I mean, who doesn't want that, right? I mean, that's kind of the thing that we're all chasing at some capacity, regardless. Even me, with as optimized as I am with TRT and nootropics, there may be a time at 2 or 3 p.m. or when I'm on my walk or when I come back from my walk that I'm like, I have a 20-minute stint of fatigue and I really don't love it. So we're all trying to reduce that, right? Cordyceps may help you be able to reduce fatigue at some marked level. Number 2, improving sexual function. Yeah, look, probably via the dopaminergic action, which has action at the penile tissue as well as, from the brain's point of view, you're going to get better erection quality, better libido, or both, markedly or mildly, from the administration of cordyceps mushroom. Number 3, what people report is increased workout capacity. And this happens for me. This is why I take cordyceps. If you remember in my last live stream, I talked about taking cordyceps that day because I've been taking it recently and I noticed my workouts are just a little better. All right, so I may be able to increase your workout capacity, so consider that if you're a gym rat. Number 4, probably via the dopaminergic action, improving mood and well-being. This is another thing that we're all chasing. I mean, who doesn't want to feel awesome all the time or as much as possible? Cordyceps may be able to help you do that, probably via its dopaminergic action, but also there's research to suggest that it's working on serotonin at some mild level too. So there may be some interaction there, which is helping mood and well-being. And number 5, as the Chinese medicine people have used it, positively modulating the immune system. Cordyceps may be able to positively modify immune function in a way that is favorable, probably comparable to something like vitamin D. All right, so I hope that clears some things up. Yes, it does have dopaminergic action. It is very clearly helping you to make more dopamine via enhancing the expression of one of the really, really important aromatic amino acid hydroxylases that turns your tyrosine into L-Dopa and then converts to actual usable dopamine. This is really important. This is why with Cordyceps militaris, at least one of the extracts, people are getting a positive benefit from taking cordyceps. We know that generally it has an antidepressive effect to it, and that's probably via the tyrosine hydroxylase expression and the more dopamine. But either way, it has something to do with either directly agonizing or binding to and activating the dopamine D2 receptors, or via the extra dopamine that agonizing the D2 receptors and giving you that kind of dopaminergic state. I mean, it's studied literally in scientific papers as an antidepressant. And, my suggestion would be to get a Cordyceps militaris extract, Cordyceps, supplement. And here's a good one here, no affiliation, but Real Mushrooms makes a pure Cordyceps militaris mushroom extract. And this one has 3,000 ratings, and it's basically almost all 5-star. So that would be my my suggestion. But again, as I said in the beginning, we are a high-level male performance company that predominantly specializes in active nootropic stacks that are shipped all around the world. The most popular of them is the Torque nootropic stack. You can go buy this thing literally in the description of this video or at livecortex.com. 2 capsules in and you got motivation, energy, and drive, and you're in a good mood. Go read the reviews, go get a bottle. You will love the Torque stack. I am a high-level coach and consultant on nootropics. Nootropics, testosterone replacement therapy and dialing protocols in energy optimization, blood work interpretation, sexual dysfunction, dopamine and brain chemistry restoration, host of other specialties you can check out in the consulting tab at livecortex.com. And also on our website, we've got courses. You want to learn about nootropics, actually use them in a way which gets you targeted results for performance, for brain performance. Go get any one of our nootropics courses, any one of our nootropics guides, and you can find all that stuff in the description of this video or at livecortex.com. We are on a dopamine tirade this week, my friends, because there's going to be a video coming that actually explains what P5P is doing and actually how useful it is for dopamine, since it's actually one of the most powerful dopamine synthesizing things you can get, and we're going to talk about it soon. So look forward to that. Appreciate you being with me, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
Yeah, I'm in my element, flow is like water, I'm forced through the fire, I'm feeling like gold. Gotta stay grounded, stay down to earth, following God, and you grinding, you do as you told. I don't work to make you like me, but I'm front and center, word to Spike Lee.